Okay, guys, we are currently going to do some more reviews.
We're going to do.
You need to turn it up, probably.
We're going to do more his story. As we're going to react
And
his story.
let's get to
Never
it.
raised our voice, never lifted a hand. The cycle broke with us. My daughter finally brought home a boyfriend I didn't want to kill. I'd been striking out with her boyfriends for 6 straight years. Kevin stole $20 from my wallet during Thanksgiving dinner. Brad showed up
man.
wasted to my wife's birthday and puked all over our new carpet. Then there was Connor, who called me sir while dealing weed to middle schoolers behind the 7-Eleven. So when my daughter Alyssa said she was bringing home her new college boyfriend for spring break, I braced myself for another disaster. His name's Alex, she announced. And he's different, Dad. Right. I'd heard that line before every single time. Alex rolled up Friday afternoon in a beat-up Honda older than my daughter. He walked to our door with nervous energy and a firm handshake. Nice to meet you, Mr. Palos, he said, looking me dead in the eye. Most of her exes couldn't manage that much. Still, I'd learned not to trust good first impressions. During dinner, he was polite enough, asked about my work, complimented my wife's enchiladas, helped clear plates without being asked. He kept his phone in his pocket the entire meal. I found myself grudgingly
Okay,
impressed,
that's it.
but experience taught me the charming ones were usually the most dangerous. 2 nights later, I was in the garage at midnight wrestling with my motorcycle's stubborn carburetor. Alex appeared in the doorway looking sheepish. Saw the light and thought you might need help. My dad and I used to work on bikes before he passed. I know engines pretty well. Instead of awkward small talk, he rolled up his sleeves and actually knew what he was doing. We worked in comfortable silence for an hour. He handed me tools before I asked. When we finally got the engine purring, he didn't take credit, just smiled and said it felt good to work with his hands again. Next morning, I found my toolbox organized better than it had been in years. Every socket in its place. A note read, "Thanks for letting me help." Reminded me of my old man. I was starting to like this kid, but I was still waiting for the catch. 6 years of losers had trained me too well. On their last day, my wife collapsed in the kitchen making breakfast. 1 second she was flipping pancakes. The next, she hit the floor hard. Looked like a heart attack. Alyssa started screaming. I fumbled with my phone, hands shaking too bad to dial. Alex dropped to his knees beside my wife and started checking her pulse with steady hands. He's an EMT, Alyssa sobbed. An EMT. I'd been so busy hunting for red flags, I never once asked what he did for work. He kept my wife conscious and calm while we waited for paramedics, talking in that steady voice first responders use. At the hospital, Alex stayed 8 hours even though his flight left that evening. Missed his connection, paid $400 to rebook. When I tried to reimburse him, he refused. Alyssa needed me here. That's what you do for family. While we waited for test results, he quietly handled everything I was too stressed to think about. Called Alyssa's work, picked up prescriptions, made sure we had food at home, called my wife's sister so I didn't have to repeat the story 10 times. My wife was fine, just exhaustion and low blood sugar. Driving him to the airport the next day, Alex turned to me. "Mr. Palos, I love your daughter. I'd like your permission to propose after graduation." I pulled over and looked at this kid who'd proven himself when it mattered most. After 6 years of losers and letdowns, my daughter finally found a keeper. "You have my blessing," I said. "They're getting married next summer." He already calls me dad. Everyone at our school...
Okay, what are we gonna rank that story? Yeah, it was a good story.
Guys, that was a really good story. Y'all can rank them in the comments. Stay tuned. Thank you for who subbed on our recent videos. Thank you for everyone that has done the work to pay off at 10 subs. We need to keep, if y'all can keep doing that, we will be doing a lot more videos. Even though school time's coming up, I'll still try to be posting with my man. And we're going to go hop into the next video. Remember, we're doing 7 videos per one video.
Okay, so I think
Oh, this is story 8.
No, we did 6 every video, so we're gonna do. When this is story 12, it'll be. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna rank that story as 7.7. Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah, I would rank that about a 7.9.
Okay, if y'all wanna rank them, you can just say story. The first one that we did 8 or whatever you want to do. Okay,
Let's get back to the
let's
video.
get right to the next one.
Knew Luis was a drug dealer. He didn't even try to hide it. The cops would pull him over for just existing, and whenever they caught kids with something, they'd instantly search him. But every time they did, they never caught him with anything. Police would show up and rip his locker open, pat him down, and he just laughed at them every time. One time, someone spread a rumor that it was in a locker nobody used, so they cut locks off every single locker. Still, they found nothing. They had literally no idea what to do. Every time they caught them with something, they'd say, "I bought this from Luis." He'd even tell them to. Our principal was furious and until he figured it out. Over Christmas break, his son asked for shoes with a secret compartment in them, and it hit him. It immediately clicked. The first day back at school, he immediately called Luis into the office, and the second he walked in, the principal said, "Take off your shoes." Luis's eyes went wide, and our principal stood there. He knew he had them. Now, he had no choice, and took them off. Our principal was literally shaking with excitement, and the second he saw the shoes, his face lit up. He was right. Luis's shoes had hidden compartments in them. He knew he had him, but when he pushed them open, he was confused. They were completely empty, and Luis was laughing his ass off. "What is this? Where are they?" And Luis thought it was so funny. He told him he just got back from vacation. He didn't take any orders yet. We got a call from a woman terrified for her life, saying her ex...
Okay, that was a pretty short story, but it was actually a really good story.
Yeah, I would just rate that like an 8.1.
I would give it like an 8.4.
It isn't really nut action, so guys, that's why I would rate it that. Now, y'all just do whatever y'all want. Y'all can comment if y'all want to, and just stay tuned for more videos and updates.
Okay.
And peace.
Husband just broke into her house. She saw he had a gun with him and begged us to hurry. He was in prison after she came forward about being abused by him. But right after he was released, he went to her house looking for revenge. We told her to stay calm and keep the bathroom door locked, and immediately bolted down to the car, adrenaline pumping. But just as we got there, I realized I forgot the keys upstairs. I had to run upstairs to get them, not realizing...
It's more than a boat. It's a one-way
so
ticket to
sorry,
Lunkerville. It's a reason for...
the keys upstairs. I had to run upstairs to get them, not realizing that it cost us almost an entire minute. We circled the house and kicked in the door. "Police, get your ass on the ground!" My team was moving upstairs, but as we did, when we heard him break the bathroom door down, we all looked at each other and we rushed up. But just before we got to the top, he shot. Everyone flinched and covered their heads. We heard multiple pops, thankfully none of them hitting my team. But when we looked up, my partner was aiming his gun. He was on the floor. I knew there was no time, so I rushed over to the bathroom, praying the woman was alive. But my heart dropped. I looked inside and instantly recognized who it was. She was my daughter's best friend, but one of the bullets had hit her in the chest, and as they told me she didn't make it, I burst out crying. We were only a few seconds late. If I wasn't so careless, she'd still be alive. We were in the middle of a test when I caught a student whispering and
Wow.
pointing.
That's kind of sad, but
It was a good story. If we
yeah,
made-
that's a sad
If
story.
they made this like into like an hour long and it was like a documentary film, that would be pretty good. I guess I'm gonna, but it wasn't like the best. I'm gonna give it a 6.9 out of 10.
I'll give it like a 6.9 too. But that isn't really that. That was really, really short. Guys, let's get back to the video once again.
Into his backpack. But just as I was about to stand up and bust him for cheating, he pulled out something metal and black. This kid was known for causing trouble and harassing multiple girls,
Whoa.
one of them being my
Whoa.
daughter. And since I was lucky enough to teach her that
Sure.
year, she was sitting right in
Guys, we're sorry. Real quick.
Cheese or pepperoni pizza or dumplings?
Pizza.
Pepperoni or cheese?
Cheese.
2 cheese pizzas, come right up.
Alright,
Guys,
sorry.
obviously,
Sorry about that.
pizza is probably one of the best foods of all time. If you're allergic to cheese, I get it. You're gonna get allergic reaction. But now, let's get back to the video.
Sorry
Finally.
about that, guys.
front of him. I instantly started getting nervous. I didn't have a clear enough view to be sure what it was, but knew I had to get a better look, so I stood up pretending to help one of my students. However, the second I got a closer look, I realized what it was. It was a handgun. My hands started shaking, but as I sat back down, I dialed 911 on my phone, but knew he'd hear me if I even whispered. I knew I couldn't just walk out of the room and leave them in there, so I texted our principal, praying he'd respond. Sweat was dripping onto my desk, and as he held up finger guns at her, I knew I couldn't wait any longer. That's when I got an idea. I looked at that same student and wrote her a note that said, "Ask me to use the bathroom. Go get the principal, get him to check his phone, and leave the school immediately." And when I handed it to her, she could see how terrified I was. But without saying anything, she left the room. It took everything to hold back my tears. But then someone knocked on the door. Our principal walked in the room, and I immediately saw the kid get nervous. The principal walked up and asked him, "Could you come into the hall with me?" And he stood up with one hand still in his backpack. My heart raced as he walked past my daughter, but just before he finally left the room, he stopped. Everyone watched, and I saw him unzip his bag. My heart stopped, but before anyone could do anything, he pulled out the gun and aimed it directly at my daughter. I yelled, "No, don't," and everyone screamed. I ran towards her, diving in front of her to stop it. I saw police running in behind him, but in slow motion, I saw him pull the trigger. This was it for me. I heard the click and was ready to take a bullet to the spleen, but when I hit the ground, I felt felt nothing. The police ran in and grabbed him from behind. And when the gun hit the floor, I saw he forgot to take the safety off. The bus driver looked at me through the mirror and said,
Dang.
Okay, this
Go
kid's
with
kind of stupid for that. We're not trying to be mean about that kid, but he's
It's
kinda
animated.
stupid for
It's
this.
animated, bro.
I know,
What are
but
you gonna do?
he's kind of stupid for that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, guys.
Okay, we should rank that story. It was not the best story.
I mean, it's an it's probably it's an uncommon stories that
I'm gonna
happen.
give it a 7.5.
I'll give it a 7.7 because like it's like got action in it, guys. So y'all gotta.
Alright, time for the next one.
Yeah.
"Kid, don't get off at your stop today." He reached back with his phone, showing my mom's number. I grabbed it and called her. A man with a thick accent answered, telling me to come straight home. But I heard my mom screaming, "Don't come home, run." The bus driver instantly grabbed his radio. "Code red on bus 19. I need police at every stop." He told me to get on the floor. I dropped between the seats. From the floor, I saw us passing my house. A white van was parked in the driveway. 3 men in ski masks stood around it, and one was holding zip ties. My phone buzzed. A photo of my dad tied up in our basement with blood running down his face. Another text saying, "Get off at the next stop or he dies. You have 60 seconds." The bus driver looked at my screen and shook his head. "It's a trap. Don't move." I started sobbing, asking what was happening, and he just said, "My dad isn't who I think he is." 2 more white vans pulled up on both sides of the bus. He reached under his dashboard
Okay,
and
this
pulled
is
out a
really
satellite
action.
phone. "Target's been found. Family's taken. I need extraction now for the package." He glanced at me. "Yes, the package is secure." The white vans rammed us from both sides. Kids were screaming. He slammed the gas and plowed straight through. He told me my dad had been undercover investigating a trafficking ring for 5 years. Someone leaked his identity this morning. A van slammed into our back bumper, and he yanked the wheel hard left. "They're Russian mafia." A helicopter appeared overhead, and a spotlight hit the bus. His jaw clenched. New plan. He handed me a backpack from under his seat. He pointed at a building with a red door and told me to run straight to it when he stopped driving. I asked about my parents, and he said the photo was fake. My parents were in witness protection already. He slammed the brakes and hit a button. The emergency exit flew open. I ran fast with the backpack bouncing on my back. I heard gunshots, but I kept looking straight. The red door opened before I reached it. A woman in tactical gear pulled me inside. She handed me a phone. I heard my mom, "Baby, we're okay. We're all okay." I dropped to the floor and gasped from relief. 2 months later, I found out my dad had been undercover for 5 years. The bus driver was my shadow guardian, and 27 members of the trafficking ring were arrested. I showed my 4-year-old daughter a magic trick, and her reaction...
Okay guys, this is gonna be our final story.
Um,
But that was actually a really good story.
yeah, I
I like
enjoyed
that.
it. I enjoyed it.
That was a goated bus driver and goated dad.
Yeah, well, I think they're working as a team, you know.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna rank this story 8.6 out of 10. That
I'm
was actually a
gonna
good story.
give it actually a solid 9.
Okay, fair rating. Okay, time for the final story. Let's get it.
Changed how I saw her forever. I sat down with my wife and daughter at a table and placed a candy in each of our hands. I closed my daughter's fist around her candy and told her to squeeze really hard. I told my wife the same. Then I blew on each of our fists, saying, "Now open." My wife still had 1 candy, but now my daughter had 2 and I had none. You see, I had my candy palmed the whole time, and while closing my daughter's fist around her candy, I was able to slip mine in without her noticing. My daughter looked at the candy in my wife's hand and watched her eat it. Then she looked closely at the 2 candies in her hand and the 0 candies in mine. I made a sad face to really sell my disappointment, and that's when something amazing happened. My daughter took her 2nd candy and placed it back in my hand. Daddy had a candy too. She reached over and started physically turning my frown into a smile. I won't let magic person steal your candy. In the middle of a test, the sprinklers started spraying.
That's a really short story, guys. We're sorry.
Wait, actually, for that, we're gonna do this story because that was.
And that's it.
Okay, yeah, this is the final story. Hopefully, it's longer than the awesome. Let's get it.
Everyone instantly screamed, "Ah!" But I
Oh,
realized
guys, sorry about that. We need to rate that last story. Since it was pretty short, I'm gonna give it like a 5.5.
Me too, because like that isn't good if it's just not gonna.
I like the daughter's kindness though. Let's get the
Yeah.
final story going.
wasn't water spraying on us. Someone yelled, "What is this? What is on us?" We all tried to stand up and run, but everyone was slipping. The alarm blared, and the principal yelled on the speaker, "Everyone needs to get out of the building immediately. There is an active threat inside." But just before we could get out, our teacher stepped in the way. He said, "Wait, I think I just saw the threat out there," but the hall was empty. "There's nobody out there. Let us out." I tried to grab the handle, but he slapped my hand. "No, nobody's leaving." Everyone was coughing, and that's when I realized
Oh my god.
Sorry about
Okay,
this.
this teacher's already being a jerk, so I feel like he's gonna be the main bad guy.
Let's see though. Okay, sorry about the
I
answer.
realized I liked the smell. Oh my god, it was gasoline. Half the class rushed
You
over to
like
the
the smell of
windows, but we couldn't
gasoline?
just jump out because we were on the 3rd floor. Stacy
That
yelled,
sucks.
"Please, let us out. We have to make a run for it." But he just stood there. He just said, 30 more seconds. Everyone was confused. What? We need to go. We'll die from the fumes. But he just smiled. 20. What if a fire starts? We'll all burn. 10 seconds. A girl yelled, "Ah, it's in my eyes. I can't see." It was complete chaos until our teacher reached for the lock. He turned it. The door clicked open and someone walked in. "Thanks for letting me in, Dad." Stacy yelled, "Dad, you have a son." They both turned around, locking eyes straight onto me. We all started backing up, and when I saw the guy's face, my heart sank. I recognized him. He pointed straight at me and said, You put me in jail for 5 years. Now it's finally time to get revenge." I couldn't believe my eyes. This was the same guy I had called the police on 5 years ago. He had tried to rob my grandma at gunpoint and had been waiting to get me back. We watched him pull something out of his pocket and hold it up, and we saw it was a Bic lighter. Everyone started panicking because one tiny flame and we'd all immediately burn. I yelled, "No, please, you'll kill us all." He just smiled. He started flicking and we all yelled, "Stop, please, we'll all die." He flicked over and over, and I knew I had to stop him before it worked. "Please, my grandma was all I had. I didn't mean to make you suffer." And when I said that, I saw our teacher look at me, but he looked upset. We were all crying, and I saw him really looking at his son like he didn't know who he was. Flick, flick. Then finally, it caught a flame. He held it up, but I saw our teacher pick up the fire extinguisher from the wall. I knew there was no way that tiny thing would save us from the fire, but his son said, "This is for what you did, for putting me in prison with those diddlers. Say goodbye." But right before he dropped the lighter, our teacher raised the fire extinguisher, and in one moment, he slammed it down on his son's head hard. His son instantly fell over, and our teacher stood there panting. He was crying. "I'm so sorry. I failed all of you. My son was a monster." The police ran in and grabbed him, and he looked at me one more time with tears in his eyes as they took him out. When they tried to put my brother with Down
Guys,
syndrome in prison,
I'm sorry, that's it. Unfortunately, like I said at the beginning of the video, this one was going to be a lot shorter. So stay tuned for more videos. Like, sub, and look at our description. And if you help us
Okay.
get that many of likes,
Okay.
and peace.
So, wait, no, we have to wait.
Oh
rank
yeah,
the
I
final
would rate that like one, probably like the teacher was goated actually. At first, he was like a jerk, and now he was like goated. I'm gonna give that that was a twist story, so I'm gonna give that like a 9.5.
I'm giving it a 9.7. So that is our official winner of this time. The final one that we did, story 13, is actually holding the crown for all the ones that we've done yet. That one's holding the title. Yeah, like you said, subscribe, comment, like, and peace, guys.